What's up, guys? It's your boys Wookie back with another Watts murder case video, and we're going to be talking about, obviously, the biggest thing we're talking about lately is Nichol Kessinger. Now, we've been watching and taking a look at notes dotted down, or not dotted down, written down, and so forth like that, of everything that she has pretty much done wrong and why she needs to be charged, trialed, and brought to justice. Now, a lot of people on all these videos have been requesting me to look at a whole bunch of other things that we still don't even know. Like letters from Nichol Kessinger to Chris in jail right now in a different code name, which is coming up soon that people want me to watch. Now, everybody's been wanting me to watch this, that pretty much the stuff that we watched on Netflix, that was the Watts, I can't remember if it was called The Family Murders. I think that's what it's called. I watched it last night again just to kind of refresh my memory of what was on there, because this channel, True Crime Recaps, the Chris Watts Mistress, what Netflix doesn't tell you about Nichol Kessinger. Now, everybody has been saying, so Wokey, please watch this, and I want to know what you think. So obviously, we're going to watch this together and see what more we can find out with Nichol Kessinger. I mean, we found out about her past, her crime rap sheet, what she completely stupidly did with looking up Chris a year before they even started talking. She was investigating Shanann. All these emails stating that she doesn't want her name to be tainted and stuff like that, so that's why she deleted her stuff. She just was so upset with Chris, and she just couldn't stand him anymore, so she deleted all the messages. I can tell you right now, I can't stand my ex-wife, and I still have my messages that if I ever needed them, okay? I call BS. I call BS on everything that Nichol Kessinger says, does, or thinks that she's going to get away with, and hopefully someday we'll see this case reopened, and she will actually be tried and interviewed properly with investigators. She'll get a lie detector test. They even said statingly, or not statingly, that's not even a word. They even stated that there was messages that were being sent back and forth using different apps, Snapchat, Skype, all these different ones that they had, that they're like, oh yeah, we don't have these messages and stuff like that. Then they found later on that they were talking through Snapchat, where they purposely delete pictures and text messages after you send them. That's kind of sus in itself. So with that being said, let's watch the Chris Watts Mistress, what Netflix has not told us about Nichol Kessinger. Let's take a look.
In the last week of September, Netflix released the documentary American Murder:
That's
Its
what it
Family
is.
Next Door. It's about the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Cece Watts. It was well done, but it did make us wonder, why wasn't there more of Nichol Kessinger, Chris's mistress? I mean, why didn't that make the cut? And without that missing piece of the puzzle, like, is it even possible to understand what happened in that case? Let's get into it.
That's kind of a shocker to think about, is he actually never even got to spend one day with her after the murders, so it kind of came and bit him in the butt.
I'm Amy with True Crime Recaps. So who is Nichol Kessinger? Let's start with the basics. She's a geologist. She graduated from Colorado State University with a Bachelor of Science in 2013. She also has an Associate of Science degree with a focus on geological and earth sciences from the Community College of Aurora.
Sleeping with married men.
According to her now deleted LinkedIn profile, as reported by Heavy.com, she's been in Colorado for most of her life. She's lived in Fort Collins, Littleton, Denver, and Aurora. Evansville, Wyoming seems to be the only place outside of Colorado with an address listed. She told Chris her ex-boyfriend was abusive, and when she got out of that relationship, she deleted all her social media, and she had her mail sent to her father's house. So, being off the grid comes pretty naturally to her. Back when they first met at Anadarko, Chris Watts said things like, "Nikki put him on a leash as soon as their eyes met, he was hers." He sent her cards like this one for her birthday, full of song lyrics and pledges of undying love, and maybe even a little foreshadowing saying that big things are in store. Today, he's found religion in prison. So when the letters from Christopher author Sherilyn Cadle asked him to describe Nikki, he told her to read a verse from Proverbs. The last part of it goes like this. Don't let your heart lead you to an evil woman like that. Don't go where she wants to lead you. She has brought down some of the most powerful men. She has left many dead bodies in her path. Her house is the place of death. The road to it leads straight to the grave.
You did it.
This shocked me just as much as I think it shocked the rest of the world.
But
No, it didn't.
before we get into all that, let's start a little closer to the end.
Okay.
This is what Chris told the local news on August 14th, just one day, like mere hours after he murdered Shanann, 4-year-old Bella, and 3-year-old Cece.
I want them wherever they're at. Like, I have no inclination to where they're at right now, and it's just like it's vanished. Like, she's not. Like, when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here. Kids weren't here. I have no idea. Like,
And he
where they
laughs
went.
in this interview.
And it's just earth-shattering. I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from.
That's what I want to do
I'm
more.
just hoping right now that she's somewhere safe, and maybe she's there. But right now it's just like, if she's vanished, like, I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion on anything like this. I
Oh.
just want them people to know that I want my family back.
No, you
Like,
don't.
I want them safe. And
No, you don't.
I want them here. Like, this
No, you
house
don't.
is not the same.
You don't care.
Last night was traumatic. Last night was.
You're talking to Nicole.
I can't really stay in this house again, like, with nobody here. I've never seen something like this in my lifetime unless it was on TV or a movie, and this doesn't seem real at all. It just seems like I'm living in a nightmare, and I can't get
That
out
you
of it.
made.
Yeah, I had the kids over the weekend.
Did you see your wife when she got home?
She got home really late, about 2 a.m. from the airport.
When
she
he
got back from
lies, he
Arizona.
closes his eyes.
Did you wake up and say, you know?
No, yeah, I saw her when she got in, but it was really quick, just because it was 2 a.m. in the morning. But I saw the kids in the monitor before I left, and that was it.
He does this.
Because Celeste, she's just a ball of energy. Call her Rampage, because she's just always, she's got 2 speeds, go or she's sleeping. And she's always a troublemaker. She's always the one, like, jumping off things, just yelling at you and all kinds of things. And Bella, she's the more calm, cautious, mothering type. And
Makes you sick watching
she's more like
this.
me. She's more calm. But Celeste has definitely got her mom's personality to where she's always just gung-ho, ready to go. Bella was going to start kindergarten next Monday, and they were just getting ready to start back again.
And you took them
I
away.
gotta warn you, this part, it's gonna be hard to hear. Well, based on the discovery, police reports, and the letters described in Letters to Christopher, here's what actually happened on August 13th and the days leading up to and right after that. So Chris actually murdered his daughters twice. He told Sherilyn Cadle that he used their pillows to smother them in their beds, and then he strangled Shanann to death in their room. He said she didn't fight him, but her eyes filled with blood, and he thought she might be praying when she died. He was wrapping her in a sheet when his daughters walked into the room and asked what was wrong with Mommy. He was surprised they were still alive. He told them Shanann wasn't feeling well, and then he dragged her body down the stairs to the garage. He put garbage bags over her head and feet, and he loaded her onto the floor in the back seat of his work truck.
Jesus
Then
Christ.
he told his daughters, Bella and Cece, to get in the back. Their mother was at their feet on the floor. They drove almost an hour out to the oil site where he planned to work that day. He knew it was isolated, and he knew he'd be alone. Here's a little bit more about what happened when he got out there. This is from the second confession Chris gave the FBI from prison in February 2019.
So what happened when you got out there?
I took Shanann out just to a place off to the site, and then
What were the girls doing when you were doing that?
just sent them back to the truck.
And then what happened after that?
CC was first. She did have a blanket. She had a blue blanket, a Yankee blanket.
So was she alive when she went into the oil tank? No.
I put the blanket over her. I didn't want to, strangle her right there in the back seat.
Okay.
What was Bella doing?
She was sitting right
later.
He barely even.
Did
Oh
she
my
understand
god.
that she know what was going on?
She didn't say anything.
And then the same for Bella. Just without a blanket.
With the blanket.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. Like every time I closed my eyes, I started to hear her saying, "Daddy, no," and that was it.
That's what Bella said.
I hear that every day.
He told the letters from Christopher Author even more than that. He said Shanann was buried face down because that's how she landed when he unwrapped the sheet from around her body. He said he was too angry with her to bother moving her. He shoveled only 8 inches of dirt over her and broke a rake trying to cover it up. After the murders, Chris told Cato, "All I could feel was now I was free to be with Nikki. Feelings of my
Dirtbag.
love for her was overcoming me. I felt no remorse. The darkness inside of me had won. It was still in me. I thought maybe permanently. I felt evil swallowed up by this thing inside of me. I felt like I could kill anything and be justified for doing it." After the murders, around 10:30 a.m., he was on his phone searching these very unusual terms. A 4-star top secret Aspen hotel, I guess to take his mistress Nikki to. He called his daughter's school and unenrolled them.
That
He
was the
contacted
stupidest
their
thing.
realtor to put the house up for sale.
Another
and
dumb
then he
thing.
looked up the lyrics to the Metallica song Battery. He's a big Metallica fan, and of that song, these are the lyrics that, let's just say, probably meant the most to him right then. Pounding out aggression turns into obsession. Cannot kill the battery, cannot kill the family. Battery is found in me. He said later that Nikki had challenged him to look up the lyrics to that song so they could discuss what they meant. Are we supposed to believe that's some kind of coincidence?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, those oil tanks are called batteries. And then he kept working, just like normal. His wife was in a shallow grave and his daughters were hidden in the oil batteries. But according to the discovery documents, when his coworkers got to the site around 8 a.m.-ish, they all said he was acting just like he always did.
Weird.
The only off things they noticed were minor. Like his car was parked in a strange place, not where someone would normally park out there. And he was dressed a little sloppier than usual. He had one pant leg tucked into his boot and the other one out. He got the first call from Shanann's friend Nicole
He knew
around
he
noon.
was screwed.
She was wondering where Shanann was. He told her she took the girls to a play date, but Nicole didn't buy it. Shanann had had a doctor's appointment that morning and she wanted Nicole to drive her. She wasn't around. It's not at all like her.
She was a smart idea.
She called him a few
for
more
smart
times,
friend.
but when he didn't offer any more help, she called the police for a welfare check. And that's when Chris drove back to the house. He left the site around 2-ish. He was arrested on August 15th after failing a lie detector test. The whole thing happened only 2 days after the murders.
And why wasn't Nicole?
According to what criminologist Philip Stinson told
Lie
People.com,
detector test.
things unfolded so quickly that he was trapped with no alternative but to cooperate with the reporters. I don't think he anticipated that a friend of his wife would so quickly alert authorities to her failing to show up for a scheduled medical appointment.
He thought he was going to have time to make more preparations to be with Nikki and to cover up everything he did. But lo and behold, Shanann's friend stepped up to the plate and brought him down.
And was not at the house on Monday. In that first confession, he told investigators that Shanann smothered the girls and he strangled
loved
her out
those
of
girls.
rage. He later told Cheryl and Cato that he got the idea to say that from the investigators themselves. I mean, they didn't believe it for a second. The physical evidence told a very different story. On August 16th, Nikki went to the police with her dad to tell them she'd been having an affair with Chris, which they already knew after speaking with Chris and some other Anadarko employees. But before she went in, she deleted all of her texts from him and his contact information.
Which is a
She
felony.
asked her good friend to delete all the texts she'd sent her about Chris.
Felony.
She looked up Amber Fry. She wanted to know how much Amber Fry had made on a book deal and if people hated Amber Fry.
She wanted to make money.
She searched for information on how or if those deleted text conversations could be retrieved by the police.
Yes, they can.
And only then did she start talking.
I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May. It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual. And he didn't have a wedding ring on his finger. And every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. and started telling me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad.
She
It was
don't
like
want
right around
kids.
Father's Day
She
too.
didn't want kids.
So whenever that is it in June?
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not good with holidays.
he told me he had kids, and then it was Father's Day shortly after
Okay.
that. So that's what I do know. And I was like, I know, I thought it was cute. And then he's telling me about him. He's pretty excited about him. And then he mentioned that he did have a significant other. And then he told me that those two were in the process of a separation.
Lie.
Did he mention the children's name or his significant other's name?
I didn't know his significant other's name for a
Lie.
while. And then I think he told me his kids' names pretty quick, but to be honest with you, on an exact date of when that happened, I don't know.
In February 2018, Chris told the FBI that Nikki, yes, did know that he was married right from the beginning. He thought she probably lied to the police to save face. But did you notice she also said she didn't know his significant other's name or that she was pregnant? She lied about a lot to save face.
Yeah, she did.
And did you catch how she won't say Shanann's name? She keeps calling her
The
significant other. She won't do it.
She was
And here's
pissed.
the very, very strange thing. In the discovery documents, a search of her phone and computer turned up some very suspect items. The most suspect and the most debated are these two searches for Chris and Shanann, one in August 2017 and one in January of 2018. A full year before Shanann was murdered. Very strange.
Exactly.
Now, there are two schools of thought on this. The first is that it's a huge indicator that Nicole has something more to say on this subject, and the other is that this is a typo. A reporter from Crime Online tracked down the records supervisor at the Frederick Police Department, and they said, yes, it is a typo. But which one? Searching Chris's name in August of 2017 or searching Shanann's name in January of 2018, 8 months before Chris would murder her? To be fair, there are several typos in the discovery documents, like this one, when the date should read Monday, August 13th, but as you can see instead, it says Monday, August 12th. So, but typo or not, this is the part that makes it a little, I don't know, disturbing. When Crime Online asked if the district attorney's office planned to dig a little deeper into the fact that Nicole might have blatantly lied about how long she'd known Chris, even potentially pursuing him for up to a year before the murders, they said this: Chris Watt's guilty plea precluded any need to further probe the results of the forensic analysis
This
of
is what
Nicole's
pisses
phone.
me off.
We did not get to the point in our investigation of attempting to independently verify that or not, because Chris Watts pled guilty.
Who cares?
Where that anomaly in the data comes from, I can't answer it for you. I don't know the answer to it.
Because they knew they screwed up.
Discuss amongst yourselves. Now, when you meet a guy you like, you check them out on Facebook, right? Well, let's assume Nikki's telling the truth and that she was first attracted to Chris in June of 2018. So take a look at these work emails between them starting in early June. As you can see, they escalated their friendship pretty quickly. Certainly by the time they started having sex, only a couple weeks after this exchange. A quick glance on Facebook would tell you if your new boyfriend was lying to you about leaving his wife, which is what she said he said to her, and he was lying. And Shanann posted constantly. She told the world how much she loved her husband almost every day on Facebook. Let's take a quick look at the events of that summer that led up to this, but with a focus on Chris and Nikki's relationship.
Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi.
By June
That's
14th,
creepy.
Chris had her phone number programmed into his phone. On June 27th, Shanann took the girls and went to stay with her parents in North Carolina for 5 weeks. That is when Chris and Nikki's relationship got very intense, very fast. Nikki told police she went to Chris's house for the first time on the 4th of July to set up his diet and weight loss and exercise goals. She said he
Okay.
invited her to his house, he cooked lunch, they ate, and she left. That wasn't exactly true. Chris told the FBI in February that he actually spent the night at Nikki's house on July 3rd, and they woke up together on the 4th with a lot of missed calls from Shanann on his phone. He told Nikki he was going home to talk to his wife, and that made Nikki mad.
Pissed.
He said this was one of those times he had to talk her off a cliff and reassure her. She ended up coming to his house anyway, and that's when they had lunch and talked about his meal plan. And then they went back to her house. Chris had been gradually distancing himself from Shanann, and she'd noticed. On July 14th, Nikki was at his house again, but that led to another time that he had to reassure her. It wasn't exactly like she said to the police, that she was encouraging him to work things out with Shanann.
She didn't care.
But instead, she was coming off as sort of the exact opposite. Chris said she told him she didn't want kids, but on that day, she told him she wanted to give him his first son. That's when Chris told the Letters to Christopher author he started to think about killing his family so he could give Nicole what she wanted and be with her. He asked her for help finding a new apartment, and she said she was helping him do that. It's been asked, suggested, wondered about what else she might have been helping with. On July 18th, she sent him this infamous bikini shot that he had hidden on his phone in that secret calculator app. Chris knew he was going to have to go to North Carolina to see his family and his parents for a week on July 31st. So he and Nikki took one last vacation together. On July 28th, they spent the weekend camping at the Great Sand Dunes National Park.
I am having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
On July 31st, Chris flew out to North Carolina to spend a week with Shanann and the girls. Before he left, Nikki texted him this: "Take this time and try to heal things with your wife and enjoy time with your family." But then when he got there, he texted her, "I can't call, just text." She responded, "Why not? Are you with her?" So much for no pressure. So Chris tried to make her happy by not having sex with Shanann that whole week. He's basically switching from one woman he feels controlled by to another woman that wants to control him.
That's weird.
The first night he was there, he slipped Shanann 80 milligrams of oxycodone by telling her it was something to help with her headache. He told Cheryl and Cato
Trying to
that
kill
he
the baby.
wanted Shanann to miscarry the baby that they had named Nico. He thought it would be easier to be with Nikki if Shanann wasn't pregnant. But where did he get the oxy? He said he would never reveal that, which seems to suggest that he must have gotten it from someone close to him, someone he wanted to protect and still does. While Chris was away, Nikki was making plans of her own. Police discovered internet searches for wedding dresses, Shanann Watts, and phrases like, "Man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife and marrying your mistress." This is definitely not what she suggested to the police.
Exactly.
Just doing a search for Shanann Watts would have pulled up her Facebook, and you would have seen the entire history of the relationship, including the fact that she was pregnant, which, if you remember, she did try to say that she didn't know about until Chris was arrested and the media said so. Not so much. In yet another phone search conducted by authorities, investigators found searches for sexual videos, positions, tons of searches for Shanann. Chris told Cheryl and Cato that when he got back into town, he went to see Nikki and she gave him a key to her place, something Nikki never told the FBI.
Oh.
That key was the final push he needed to get rid of Shanann. According to letters from Christopher, he left Nikki's house with the key to her house in his pocket, and he met Shanann at her ultrasound appointment. But he could already feel himself completely uninterested in this child or in her. He was already starting to think about killing them. On August 8th, he deleted his Facebook account. He told Shanann he wanted to take a break from social media, but then in her police interview, Nikki let it slip that she had told Chris to shut it down. In fact, she was so adamant about it that when he told her he'd closed it, Nikki asked him if he'd actually scrubbed it by sending a specific request to Facebook. I do not know about that. Do you? Chris didn't either. So Nikki thinks he just deactivated it. Later, Chris told police he'd done it so Nicole's friends couldn't look him up and tell her that his wife was not acting like a woman who was leaving her husband. Clearly, at that time, he did not know that Nicole had done plenty of searches on her own. On August 9th, Shanann left for Arizona, and Chris was already thinking of exactly how to murder his family. He sent this picture to Shanann saying Bella had done this with the sheet, but later he admitted it was him and he'd sent it to her to get her reaction.
What?
August 10th, Chris volunteered to check out a maintenance issue on the oil tanks known as Survey 319 on Monday morning, August 13th. At that time, his boss didn't think anything of it because Chris was a hard worker, but that site was so far away, no one really ever put their hand up to go there. Clearly, Chris is already formulating a plan. On August 11th, he hired a babysitter for the girls and he went to dinner with Nikki. He told Shanann he was going to a Colorado Rockies game with a friend from work. But later that night, she got an alert on her phone that their joint account had been used at this Lazy Dog Bar and Grill for more than $60. Like a lot more than one person might spend on themselves there.
Yep.
For the first time, Shanann was seriously considering that Chris might have a mistress. Her friends say that wasn't something she really believed before that night. Chris always paid for dates with Anadarko gift cards. But that night, he just didn't seem to care. Even Nikki noticed, and she told the police about it. But she said to them that she thought it was further evidence that Shanann had insisted on moving forward with the divorce, despite Chris's best efforts to work things out.
They never actually
Well,
filed for divorce.
She and Chris must have been celebrating because at 9:30 that morning, she spent 45 minutes Googling how to prepare for anal sex.
Gross.
On August 12th, Chris took the girls to a birthday party, and he texted with Nikki most of the day. Also on August 12th, Nikki was having this text conversation with her good friend.
Just be warned, it's a little raunchy.
Been kind of hanging out with a guy recently, keeping it a secret. Dude loves to eat. Never met a man who does till now. I just let it happen. LOL. Where did you meet this man? Feel like every dude I meet has kids these days, and if they don't, they have commitment issues or some BS like Sean. What's the guy's name? Kids are cute. It's a package deal, though. The fact that he takes care of his kids is a good thing, I think. He's all about his kids. That's cool. How old are they?
That's what makes me believe that Nicole killed the kids, because he did. I'm not saying care about the kids, but I don't feel like he did the kids in. I felt like it was Nicole.
I just feel like I will always be in second place. Like he's been there, done that. Don't tell nobody. I haven't made my mind up on him yet. It's the best sex I've ever had. I'm hooked. Now, that night, Chris fed the girls and tucked them in for the last time. He said it to himself as he walked away. He FaceTimed Nikki and they had phone sex and talked from almost 9 to 11 o'clock that night. On August 13th, 3 hours later, Shanann got home from her business trip. It's around 2 a.m. And there was Chris waiting to kill her. He told his pen pal that he didn't even think about getting a divorce. At that time, he thought killing all of them would mean the end to his money problems, the fights with his parents about her and the kids, the fights with Shanann, and he wouldn't have to worry about his kids or anyone else thinking he was a bad guy if he just left her for another woman. If she just disappeared, none of that would be an issue, and he could build a new life with Nikki. On the morning of August 13th, in the Netflix documentary, the producers included one interesting comment from a neighbor. She said she saw a gray truck near the Watts house the morning of the murders, and she knew...
Which was Nicole's.
Knew it wasn't Chris's. His work truck was big and brown, and Nikki drove a Toyota 4Runner truck. Not sure what color it was. Interestingly, the discovery documents note that Nikki's cell pinged in Frederick at 6:15 a.m. on August 13th. She lived in North Glen, which is about 20 minutes away, so what's she doing in Frederick?
Exactly.
That day, August 13th, she said Chris texted her to say he was busy, but they mostly chatted like normal during the workday until 3:45 p.m. when he texted her to say his family was gone and he wanted to know what she thought he should do with the wedding ring that Shanann had left behind.
She said pawn it.
Nikki suggested he pawn it. By the time Chris was arrested and she had a couple of police interviews under her belt, Nikki was busy doing damage control as much as she could. On August 21st, Nikki talked to investigators again over the phone. She told them she'd been trying to get Chris to fix his relationship with Shanann. She told them she barely knew him. And she asked the FBI how she could change her name. She mentioned that she might need to lay low for at least a couple of years. Try 5. 3 or 5. On August 23rd, she was fired from Tasman Geosciences. That's the company she worked for that hired her out to Anadarko. She moved out of town, probably did change her name and maybe even her appearance because there's been no mention of any sightings of her at all. And because Chris confessed and pled guilty right away,
they didn't look at her.
She never actually testified against him, so she's probably not officially on a witness protection program. And the possibility that she might know more than she said or that her statements weren't totally accurate, that was never really probed all that carefully. So, would Chris have killed his family eventually? Maybe for the next girl he took a fancy to, or maybe just because. Nikki says yes. Chris says no. He says he hasn't spoken to her since his arrest, but he still wants one last conversation for closure and the chance to apologize. She's refused any outward sign of communication with him, but Chris has told multiple sources that every time he gets a piece of mail, he hopes it's from her, writing to him under a code name. Thanks for discussing this with me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you like getting all the crime in almost half the time, this one is a bit longer than normal, then please subscribe and hit the bell to get a nudge for a new show every Sunday and Wednesday. I'll see you soon.
Man, I learned some stuff that I didn't know. So that watching these different videos, you definitely learn more stuff every single time we watch this. And just the things that come out of the dark that, I mean, why would you sit there and say that you don't know about this guy, but then you're sitting there telling your pen pal that, oh, it's the best SCX ever, it's the best stuff I've ever had, and then you're like, oh, I really don't like him, I'm really not into him. Really? You're contradicting yourself. I don't know what more I can do when it comes to this Nichol Kessinger stating that she is guilty. She deleted things, she tried going behind people's backs, and I still can't believe why she's not brought forward. Why is this a thing? Why was she not hooked up to a lie detector test? Chris was. Hook her up. Investigate. Why? Just because one person pleaded guilty or was found guilty doesn't mean you stop. I've seen how many people, countless people in different trials and different murder cases that 4 people are involved. And one person just drove there. She technically was there that morning. Technically. Her truck was shown on a camera. She was shown on a camera. Her phone pinged the tower. She deleted messages. She put in the Google. Can your text messages be traced? What more evidence do you need to say, yeah, we messed up, we need to go get her, we need to investigate her? I just don't get it. I'm actually more pissed than anything that she has done this. Now she's changed her name, gone on to live her life after she completely destroyed a family, looking at the family, or Shanann and Chris, a year before, like she was hunting him. I'm more or less getting pissed off now because nothing is being done. It's not being changed. We're just learning more and more disgusting things about both of them. And they just he didn't get away with murder, but she, whatever her connection is, it's not good. So that being said, for those that have just come to my channel, please definitely take a look at the other videos because they definitely have tons of evidence and information when it comes to the interrogation and investigations, the interviews that they had 3 times with Nikki. All the other videos have something more and more and more, including this one. Comment down below what you guys think for those that have not been here and are new. Make sure you guys subscribe for more content when it comes to this or anything that I have on my channel, all things nerdy and more. And I thank you very much for being here, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this channel. Definitely comment down below. Let me know of any videos that you've seen that have more information I'd like to see. I'd like to see the one about apparently the Chris 2.0. Apparently that one was a doozy. I want to watch that one as well. So hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Please be safe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So keep it real and take care.